Hello and welcome to kind of a new series on this channel. So this is the start of a little mini series on this channel. It's going to be, as of right now, about 6 episodes, but it could change to be longer or shorter depending on how this goes. But let me explain to you. If you've been around on this channel for a while, then you know I don't keep books on my shelves after I've read them unless I plan on rereading them at some point. However, I do have quite a stack of books that I look at and think, I don't really know if I want to reread these, so I'm deciding to give them a second chance before unhauling them. However, there's a twist. I do want to make room on my bookshelves. Right now, I'm in a place where I don't think there are any books that I currently want to get rid of without at least giving them a fair shot. I'm really excited for all of the books that I haven't read yet, and I do want to give them the fair chance to figure out if I will enjoy them or not. And I don't think there are any books that I have already read at this point that I don't want to keep for any reason, except for this stack of currently 12 books. What I've decided to do in order to make room and to give these books a fair shot is to pin them against each other. Basically, I have set everything up into kind of a bracket style situation where I'm putting 2 books against each other in each vlog, and the book that I enjoy more than the other I will keep. The book that I enjoy less, I will end up unhauling. So, for example, a little bit of a spoiler. 2 of the books that I am pinning against each other are The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller and Circe by Madeline Miller. I've read these both, but I'm not sure if I ever plan on rereading them or if I just want to make some room on my shelf. So as of right now, the rules for this are I need to read both of the books in their entirety in order to give them a fair ranking. And I do have to unhaul one. So by the end of this series, I will have unhauled at least 6 books. No, I don't have to keep both of them if I look at, if I reread them both, give them a fair chance and think I don't really care to keep either of these, I can just get rid of them both. If for some reason I don't want to get rid of either of these, I have such a strong reaction to them both, I am allowed to keep both, but I have to unhaul 2 others without giving them a fair shot, which is why I said give or take 6 vlogs could come out of this. There's a potential that it could be less if a situation like this happens. I'm gonna try not to do that because I do want to give each of these books a fair shot. But we don't really know what's going to happen. I hope all of this makes sense and I'm explaining it in a way that makes sense for you. Okay, I think those are all of the rules that I want to go by. Again, ideally, I will have gotten rid of at least 6 books by the end of this series. So as of right now, I'm going to try to do 1 vlog per month, and hopefully this will be finished in those 6 months, give or take, depending on how crazy life gets. So I didn't make a bracket style board, but I'm going to show you all of the pairs. Benson did bring up a point that I had thought of, and there is a potential for some of these books to go up against books to the point where it doesn't seem like it's going to be a fair fight. I have done my best to pair these up where they each have a fair fighting chance. So obviously I've already shown you Song of Achilles and Circe are on here. And then I have The Imaginary Corpse versus Asylum, which if I end up getting rid of this one, I'll end up getting rid of the other 2 books in this series. So it'll be getting rid of 3 books instead of 1. Not Even Bones versus The Beast is an Animal. A Botanical Daughter versus Stalking Jack the Ripper. Hidden Pictures versus Gallant. And The Book Jumper versus In Deeper Waters. I have like I said, I've tried pairing everything up where it makes sense and where each book has a fair fighting shot. There might be a couple where it's skewed in one favor over the other, but I'm going to do my best to make sure things work out the way that they're supposed to, not necessarily in the way that I want them to. So at the time of filming this, it is September, and I would like to read 2 of these books in September. I'm feeling a little bit more inclined to read some of the spookier books. So I think for this vlog, I'm probably going to end up going with the 2 that I haven't read longer than any of the others. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for the pairing of The Beast is an Animal versus Not Even Bones. I believe this one is a standalone that I read many years ago, and I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did the first time. However, I don't remember anything about this book. This one, I remember a little bit about, and I wasn't sure if I was going to continue the series. I'm still not sure if I want to continue the series, which is why it's on this list. So these will be the first 2 up on the chopping block, and we will have to just see who wins. Obviously, this is going to be a vlog style video, so I will be keeping you up to date on all of my thoughts and feelings, and finally the final result. This is kind of a bracket style video, but not really, because obviously if one of them wins, they're not going to move on to compete against another book. They're just going to stay on the shelf. Okay, I really hope that all made sense, and I hope I remembered to tell you all the rules and plans. Okay, see you next time I talk to you. Hopefully we'll be getting a little more insight on one of these books. Okay, so it's been a little while since I've updated this vlog, but I have managed to start Beast is an Animal, and I think I'm about almost 40% of the way through my reread. This one follows, we're in this village where twin sisters, they've pretty much always had something strange about them, and her family ends up getting accused of, well, their mother ends up being accused of being a witch, and so they're kind of cast out of the village, and because of that, you know, they end up building a reputation as soul eaters. So that happened once upon a time, and now we are following Alice, who is the only person to have ever seen these soul eaters and live. And Alice happens to live in this village where one night after these girls visited, all of the adults in their village are dead, and most of the children are asleep. They won't wake up from their sleep unless they are woken up. So Alice is one of the very few that lived through this, and I don't know, she might be connected in a way to these soul eaters. I did read this once upon a time, and I remember really loving it. I think I gave it a 4-star at the time. And so far, I do still think it's a very good book. I don't know if I necessarily am enjoying this as much as I did the first time. I don't know. It's a book that it's very hard to try to figure out exactly what I'm thinking of it. I do think it's very beautifully written. I think it's very intriguing. I think there's a lot of mythology, and not mythology, but there's definitely like a history in there. I feel like it's like a retelling of some kind, but it has that kind of folktale fantasy element that I really remember really enjoying when I first read it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what I think about it
at this moment. I'm going to continue listening to the audiobook, and I think I'm going to try to find Not Even Bones on audio as well. That way they both have a fair fighting chance. Because, like, it feels kind of... like, obviously I rate audiobooks the exact same way as I do, like, physical reads. But I feel like in order to give this a fair shot, if they're competing against each other, I need to consume both in the same format. That makes sense in my brain. I don't know if it necessarily makes sense out loud.
So it's been a little bit since I've updated this vlog. I've been so busy with all of the priority reads. But I have finally finished The Beast is an Animal. And I'm not going to tell you a final rating until the end of this vlog because I still obviously have to finish Not Even Bones. I know not a lot is happening in this vlog. Might be a short series. But I did enjoy it, probably just as much as I did the first time. I thought it was a really nice, beautiful story about finding yourself even when society and even destiny is trying to tell you you're something completely different. I did think this was a very good book when reading it. However, I wasn't really thinking about it when I was reading other things. Like, the only time I really thought about it was, oh, well, I should be reading this because I have a separate vlog going on for it. Like, it wasn't in the forefront of my mind all the time. Like, when I was reading Somewhere Beyond the Sea was at the forefront of my mind the entire time. This one, I feel like if I look back in a couple of months, I will think, oh, that's nice, or that was a good book, but do I really need to keep it on my shelf? I think the fact that it was sitting at my mom's house for so long and the fact that I didn't really feel the urge to add it to my collection says that my collection could be complete without it. But I'm not going to count it out yet because, like I said, I did really enjoy it. And the fact that I read it a second time and enjoyed it just as much and rereading it a second time definitely made me remember why I enjoyed it so much in the first place. I do still have to read Not Even Bones, and I have to figure out if that one has a place on my shelf, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna try to sneak into the kitchen tonight and make some dinner. Not that I'm not allowed in the kitchen, but we usually have a couple people cooking like a couple different things in the house, so there's not always room or time for me to make dinner before Benson has to, like, Benson's usually at work when I cook. There's usually not time, like, they have a very strict schedule, obviously, and, like, they can't always fit in their lunch break after a certain time. So I'm gonna try to cook some dinner. I found a recipe for pumpkin pasta, which I'm not sure if Benson's gonna like, but I want to try it. So we're gonna try to make that tonight, and then I might make some progress in Not Even Bones tonight while I'm doing that and maybe playing on my Switch a bit. All right, I will talk to you once I start making progress in that, but I'm not sure if that's gonna be tonight, tomorrow, the end of the week, yeah, whatever. I will see you later. I've been listening to the audio for Not Even Bones today. I did start it this morning while I was at work, and I've been kind of listening to it off and on. And I'm expected to finish it today because I was supposed to go to a little festival that my town is putting on with my sister, but something ended up coming up. She's not able to make it, so I think I'm just gonna go on my own and enjoy the walk there, and that's probably where I'm going to finish the audio, is on my walk. But I wanted to check in with you before I did that because I'm not really sure how long this video is going to be, mainly because not much is going on, and because only 2 books are included in it. So this follows Nita, whose mom she's kind of a black market seller. She specializes in killing supernatural creatures. And something happens, and Nita has kind of a moment of defiance for her mother, and that ends up with Nita being taken in to the black market. And it follows that story from there, and her trying to come to terms with it, that her mom is the one that sold her out, and try to get out of there, while also possibly befriending one of the monsters that put her in there. I feel like I'm really interested in this so far. Now, does that mean it has a chance of beating out The Beast is an Animal? Yes and no. The reason that I paired these two together, which I don't think I mentioned to begin with, was because these are two books that were on my shelves that I had originally just done away with. I left at my mom's house because I was just going to unhaul them, and I didn't think about it. I had already had it set on my mind that I was going to put The Beast is an Animal on my Pango shop. And same thing with Not Even Bones is I had completely given up on this series, and I didn't really want to continue on with the series until I was watching a booktube video, and the book YouTuber happened to mention this book, and it got me reinterested in the series. So it made me really want to give it a second chance. So they're still very much on even playing fields, even though I am enjoying this one. Like I said, I enjoyed Beast is an Animal as well. So it's still anybody's game. I just have to ask myself the question, is my interest in this book enough to the point where I want to continue on with the series? Because it is I believe it's a 3-book series. So am I going to want to continue on after the first book? I don't know. We'll have to wait until the end of the day to hear my final thoughts. Hopefully by the time I get back home tonight, I will have a little bit more of an answer for you as far as what book is leaving my shelf. All right, we have come to an end of the first segment of this video series because I have finished both books. And this is a harder decision than I thought it would be, and I know it's only going to get worse from here as the installments continue, because this is the installment that I thought was going to be the easiest, and that's why I started with it. So like I said, I did really, really enjoy this one, but I haven't thought about it in years. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it on my shelf, because it is, kind of it's a very beautiful book, but it is also kind of forgettable. If I haven't thought about it in years, is it something that's going to stick on my shelf? Is it something that I'm going to want to revisit again in the future? Is it something that adds substance to my library? With this one, I was a little more intrigued by, but this is another case where I did decide that I kind of wanted to DNF the series years ago because I didn't really need it on my shelf. But that kind of, changed this time. I think I was more interested in it. Ever since I saw that YouTube video talking about it, now I'm more like, oh, okay, I'm intrigued by it. I want to know more. I kind of want to continue on with the series. Kind of. So with this one, it's a little different, and I feel like this is where these books are kind of unevenly matched. This one is not a series. This is a standalone book. It finishes in a place where it doesn't need to continue on. This one is at least a trilogy. So I have to ask myself a couple of questions, being, is this a series that I want to continue? And even if I want to continue it, is this a series that I need to own in order to continue on with it? Am I going to want to get the other 2 books in order to read it, because I did listen to this on audio, or is it something that I'm okay not owning and, you know, continuing on the series just audibly. I'm also a little nervous. Like pretty much through the entire time listening to this book, I was thinking, oh, like this is the one that's going to win, like this is the one that I'm probably going to end up keeping. But then the way the last part, like the last page set up, it's almost as if the second book's going to introduce there's a little bit of romance in here. It's like not the main focal point whatsoever, but it is in there. And the way the last page kind of set up, it seems like book number 2 is going to do a popular YA trope, where in the second book they end up adding another love interest and turning it into a kind of love triangle, and I hate that trope. I hate it with every fiber of my being. This one, back to this one, like I feel like I'm going to do a lot of flip-flopping here. Back to this one, again, it's a standalone book. And I feel like it's not one that I think about a lot, but I didn't think about a lot of books that were at my mom's place for a while. And then, you know, I got most of the books that were there and brought them back here. And I don't know, I did very much enjoy this one. And it does seem like one that I would love to go back to and revisit in the fall time. It's one that I definitely have to be in the mood for. This is a really, really, really hard decision. For most of this video, I really thought I was going to end up unhauling this one. But the more I think about it, the more I'm questioning that decision. Okay, final decision. Drum roll, please. I think I'm unhauling Not Even Bones. Like I said, so first of all, I have a feeling the next book is going to be introducing a trope that I'm not super interested in. That I actually, like, it's like my least favorite trope ever, actually. I do still want to continue on with the series, but I don't need to own it to continue on with the series. Yes, it's going to make it a little harder for me to want to continue on with the series because I have so many sequel books that I own, but honestly, I can continue on with the series and not own the book. Like, that's not something I particularly care about when it comes to reading series, unless, like, I already own the first one. But this one, I feel like reading it a second time, I loved the characters. I loved the story. I loved that it had that, like, fantasy retelling vibe. I loved that it really, like, this book I feel like really put me in the fall mood. And I don't know, it's one that I'm really glad, like, I'm actually really glad for this series, because I don't think I would have picked up this book or given it a second chance if I wasn't doing this vlog. So this is the one that is staying, meaning Not Even Bones is going to be on my Pango shop, which I always leave down in the comments in case you are interested, or down in the description box, in case you are interested in checking it out or purchasing from me. Let me know what book you thought I was going to end up getting rid of down in the comments below, if I surprised you, if you think I made the wrong choice. Let me know that too. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more from me, including future installments of this series. I'll see you next time.